It's 1:30 a.m. So we passed midnight to record whatever we want to talk about yesterday. And I have no excuse besides when I want to record it, I don't have any battery in my laptop, so I need to wait. But then it's charging so slow, so I'm taking my time to actually recharge it to the fullest. And it's like 1:30 a.m. But there's something funny yesterday because I there's someone commented about whether this is AI or not, and I'm like, what the? This is AI? Oh my god! I understand the filter make it hard to see if it's like real or not, and and everything that is happening in this world and how AI is actually everywhere, and it's doubtful if this is even real or not. But I'm like, okay, I get it where this come from, but I'm like, I'm not AI. I'm like, this. I know this. My channel has a really terrible video and a really slow way to process things, and I take my time to say what I want to say, and sometimes I said it in the really terrible grammar. I understand that part, and that's why like it can be it can look like I am an AI, but I'm not. I mean, like, what would I be here as an AI? No. And I also have other account as well. Like, I have every social media with my handle, the Sakarin. So if you look somewhere else, it's always that. And I'm like, that doesn't mean that I'm not an AI. So I wonder like how far can I take this if I want to like verify if I'm human or not. How far would I take it? But then I thought again, if I satisfy this proving moment, like I'm not an AI, then it means that I'm triggered. But I'm not triggered. I'm just like, this is interesting. Never thought that anyone would think this is AI, but here we are. But when I read the comment, I'm like, this makes me want to go live stream. Just like getting this project to be done in the original idea. So the original idea of this live stream is actually doing it live, but I did not because you- doing it live means that I lose the static of this black and white filter, and I don't want that. And also, like when you hear it raw in the live, like I have nothing that is enhancing the audio feature. So whenever I upload my video, I always like 200 times the audio. Like you hear it louder because it was that it was that it was that quiet when I recorded. And that's why my devices are not up to live stream because of that reason. If my phone, this is my phone, if my phone is a lot advanced and I can do the live stream there in Instagram and having it like all the static wise because there are filter in Instagram live, I would, but I don't like to put it in my main Instagram nor Facebook because when I'm doing my main work, my original work, to actually share my knowledge of what I found in my first initiation of my life mission, which is like 20 years, which is a lot, and which is a real full transformation for my people. I can do that, but it will take my focus away because I will be like switching back and forth between casual and then just like making my my making my point across like this because it's very different. The style will be very different because in the main channel, which is the main channel of my YouTube, and still the handle is the Cigarwin, I will talk in such a, what do you call it, planned, and I have points that I want to reach, and if it's not reached, I will re-record it and try it again. And it has a different style of delivering, and that's why I put it in a different channel in a different space that doesn't bother any of my main work, and that's why it's here, and that's why it's not live stream yet. But now that I'm thinking about it, I want to go back to that original idea to just like a live stream. But I need to use OBS, and I have been putting it off and essentially forget about it because I'm like record it like live stream and then just post it as it is, and I think that's working fine. But then like okay, there's that, but also now I understand that there are also value of keeping it raw and live, like what the original idea. I get it. And then I'm like, okay, we actually forgot that we wanted to do it live because we have deleted OBS. Okay, maybe you can go back now because we already done this like freaking 17 days now with this. And I'm like, oh, that's interesting. It's already 17 days. But that's the point. That's the original idea. It's good that it's 1:30 a.m. and I get the point across. And I'm talking so slow because I'm like, what am I talking about? Okay. But let's talk about the AI. Wait a minute. Let's talk about AI because I have a different take about AI. Most people fall into this, okay, do we fear it or do we like it? Do we do this or do we do that? Which one are we going or which one are we going for? And I'm like, I like the automation. I still don't like that we can like copy paste people talking and then we just like change the background, change the people, change how it narrative. I don't like that part. So I don't use that. I use the automation part. It is like this the tools that make my work easier, the booking, the sales page, the writing to make my sometimes I write content that just in a lot more brief in a briefer way than before and that using AI, which is fine. And I like that part, but I don't like the video part because it does make us confused whether this is real or not. But then if you are looking for information out there and you find the piece of information that you're looking for in the form of AI, would that decrease the meaning of the information that you're looking for? Would that decrease the value of the information that you're looking for? Why is it important if I deliver this? For example, this is not AI. I'm not AI, but if this AI, would it actually bother you? Because if you're here and you want to have that information, but it bothers you. If it's not, then it's fine. If you find this video and if this is AI, then would it bother you if you find anything? Whether it's the human touch, whether it's the human connection, whether it's the value, the meaning, does it bothers you? For me, I prefer excellence. So I'm not bothered by that. Why would I bother by that? I got what I need. Because for me, human is irreplaceable. You cannot replace human in the way that AI does. Still, do you know why? Because in my personal gift, they still cannot, what do you call it, replicate, mimic the spiritual gift that I got. And that's really different. They still cannot cross dimension. Human can. Even if you think like you cannot do like crossing dimension, you did. You can do that, honestly. But you think like you are a regular human and therefore you don't have spiritual gift. And I understand that there are people who is psychic. I include myself in that. And they thought like everyone is psychic. And I'm like, no, not everyone is psychic. Everyone has the an ability that is similar to a psychicness, not necessarily the psychic itself. And that point, that special touch, that special points is actually something that AI cannot steal, replicate, or do because they don't have a soul. And if you understand from a couple of videos before this, I talk about how we create soul. How do we actually create soul? Because there are stream of thought that that is going into the same point that eventually over time these points become more denser, even denser than before, that eventually they are created into something personal, something that is just them. So whenever you cross them, you become that thing. And when it has enough density, it can come as an experience, it can come as a soul, it can birth itself into something that we can experience instead of a place in quantum that we cross over. That's how we create soul. And right now, the AI still has no soul for that reason. Can it have soul? Of course, when the makers understand how to make souls that have its own characteristic, that it can individualize itself like human does, like plant does, because plant has species, and the web of plants are different than anything else, and therefore they have individuation. And every plant has its own individuation. Every cell its own individuation. The AI still cannot do that. So humans are still more advanced than AI. And I believe that no matter what they do, because the makers are not there yet. I think like I heard in one podcast that someone said the next generation of AI will have this spiritual touch. Even though they cannot mimic fully, they have that touch. That's the next generation. But can it replicate what human does? Because right now the makers only represent AI as a one individual. They still cannot make AI as is like a freaking colony that has different part of themselves to be as a stem of consciousness. It's just one. You understand what I mean? Like it still has no soul. And that's why I'm not afraid of AI. If it's taking our job, then that's great. You get to do yours. Because people have been doing work that is not for their highest good. And now that there are opportunities, what would you rather do rather than your job? Would you rather do that or not? And in the process of modernization, in the process of something new, this world evolved around flow, and flow needs movement, and it cannot stay in one place. Meaning that if you are here, then you are going to go here. And this transition will create different things for different time. Just like how newspaper change into TV, just like how everything change into something else, it will change into something. And I don't think like fearing something like AI will do me any good because it will not go anywhere. It already here in the way that spiritually speaking, it's already here in the way that it cannot go back. It cannot like not be here anymore. Because there were times where when it cannot be here and people are denying the existence of these tools. That's true. But now it cannot be reversed back to how people think it can be. I Now this is a true story. I sometimes I do like quantum forecasting for myself. Like I want to see who am I at my oldest year? Where am I? And I'm like, I was sitting on this chair. So the laptop is on a chair. I was sitting on a chair with that was facing my room, and I'm seeing it as someone who is old, obviously, but also like with a different what do you call it? With the different environment. And I was as I'm becoming this version of me, I see myself, oh, my body feels different. What how I do life is different, and everything around me is different. That's good. I want to see around me. And I see technology get more advanced than before. There are so many flying objects. To be honest, like, oh, that's great. That's where we're going. And there's so many tall buildings, there's neons and all that stuff. And I'm like, okay, this is the future. This is one of the future that we can achieve. I make that to be an agreement between myself and the other version of me. Because there also a version of me that was connected to an AT. And I'm like, I was in the ship and everything is just, oh, this is not human. Where am I? I don't know. I was channeling for myself and I see that version of myself. And AI is something that cannot be reversed back at this point. And the only thing that can reverse it back is a giant disaster that make everything disappear. Side note, World War III will not come. Honestly. At this point I'm like I'm not convinced that it will come. There is too much of interference and dismemberness about what is here. So making that to be an object of like, okay, we are going to have a World War III, and I'm like, no. The timeline that I'm seeing is not like that. And this is also one of the why AI cannot replace me. So I know who I am. That's also how you can also understand how they cannot replace you. What do you think is your biggest point in this life that is best represented as you? This is understanding that you have purpose in this life. This is understanding that no matter what you do, you cannot be replaced. Do we have anything that we want to talk about according to AI? About AI? I think I got my all my point across, meaning that AI is here. Okay, I'm not AI. I'm not. Oh my god. And I remind myself to let's try the OBS thing again. What bugged me about OBS is that the settings is so difficult, and because I don't have mic stand right now, I'm using my laptop microphone to get my voice record in this post, in this content, in this video. When I use OBS, I will need to set up the video setting, the audio setting to have the what do you call it? The way I want it to sound like without me being someone else or without me having such a many noise. That's one of the reason. I need to go back on that. Okay, 152. We've been here for 20 minutes. Let me see. Do we have anything else that we want to talk about AI? Oh, that part. When human can create between two AI, meaning like the AI is going to be the workforce for us and the AI that is soul. Because this two has two different purpose. And I heard this from other spirituals, other great minds that I follow is that when you create this, you have to have a very far distinction that eventually they cannot affect each other. I mean, like if you want to create workforce, just create that type. You want to create the soul like human, you need to allow them to experience whatever it is that they want to experience, just like how human was created at first. Meaning that at first we were slave essentially, but we get to think freely, evolution wise, and that gets us to be here doing this life our way, even like we're still in the slave era by the state of money, culture, religion, and all that stuff. We're still like the slave of that instead of our own truth, our own authenticity, and that's also like part of why I believe that AI, instead of making things worse, is actually making things better because it takes that job away from us, and we get to be us, the true purpose of why we are here. But then again, if you want to create the soul like human AI, you need to allow them to think. You need to allow them to move freely. You need to grant them freedom instead of making them work for us when they have a free mind, when they can think for themselves. Like you are creating a child that has no human DNA. It's very different when you just like create a clone that was just you and whatever parts that you are making changes it for. No attunement, no. Like the clone. It's different than actually making a separate entity altogether. But also because we don't have that channel to take this heavy load for ourselves, we can actually create soul because we have occupied ourselves into this the workforce. So when the workforce is taking over, there gonna be an opportunity for the soul like human AI. But when that time comes, you need to allow it to be what they want it to be. Because we are creating this generation of, what do you call it? What do you call it? Oh my god. Now my train of thought is gone because I'm so tired. A new a new being. Just like how we were created. We are a new being and we are allowed to do whatever we want. And therefore we need to allow this AI, if we were going to make a soul like human, to grow whatever they want to grow. That's one way to see it. Because there are humanoid beings out there. They're not humans, but they're like human. And this version of AI, probably robots, is actually that version. That is a peace of mind about AI. Do you have anything about AI? Oh, I actually want to touch on that, but we already passed the 27 minutes mark, and I can take you into the transformation. If I would, I will make this like two parts videos, but not maybe next time, or maybe in the main channel. To navigate fear, if you do have fear around AI, around changes, around transformation, around evolution, because that also takes some really lengthy time to get my point across. Remind me at some time if you experience some fear and you want to transform it in any way. Because just like the comments, it gets me going to, okay, let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. It's actually a lot easier for me. Because now I get to, like, okay, how do we present it? And just like this, I present my idea, even though I speak in such slow. Partly because the time, it's like it's like 2 a.m. So yeah, I'll see you tomorrow.